gentlemen, welcome back to Bowls Breakdown Podcast with Matthew and Mike. And today, we are really honoured. We have got the Editor-in-Chief of Bowls International, Ceris Hewlings.
Hello.
Have I said that right?
You have, yes.
Ceris Hewlings. Thank you, Ceris. So, again, thanks for coming up and joining us on the podcast. It's very different for you because you're normally the other side of the camera and doing all the interviews.
Yeah, you'll have to excuse me if I need to write things down.
That's fine. So, I'm going to ask you, same as we always start with our guests.
Because you've got quite a history of bowls as a player. I was
So
where
pretty impressive.
Where did it all start for you? Where did it all start?
So born and brought up in Tenby. Didn't really play bowls much when I was growing up. My dad was a music teacher, and I stuck with music and a little bit of hockey. And then started playing bowls probably 1992. I think I've got in my scrapbook my first letter from Tenby Bowling Club accepting my membership, and there was a little group of us that started playing bowls. It just developed from there. So, like most people, the generation game followed my dad into the sport.
Okay.
My granddad played, cousins played.
So,
yep.
Started in Tenby.
Yes.
Nice club in Tenby, in a lovely location.
Very,
yeah.
You started it. Did you start it?
No, I started in Pendine.
Oh, okay.
I played
just
in
down the
Pendine.
road.
Yeah,
Okay,
I did. I did win the Yorkshire Cup in Tenby, but that's another story.
Oh, the bank holiday, one of the bank holiday competitions.
Yeah, Yorkshire Cup, and I won that
when he was
a long time ago.
Like an addy.
I'll have to have a look at you for your name on the notice board.
So, how old were you when that sort of started? You say how old were you when you?
I was probably 14, 15.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit older.
And when did sort of the success start coming? Because obviously you played. I've done a little bit of research. You played for county. You played for something like 5 years on the trot for Wales under 25s.
I did, yes. Yeah, I did. Then it was at the time where you didn't. If you were in the junior team, you couldn't play for the senior team. So you obviously had to do your apprenticeship, as it were.
Yeah. Your due diligence, really.
Yeah, for the junior team, and then missed out a couple of years until I got into the senior team, and then played in the senior team for a number of years, which was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
It was great. I moved to Saundersfoot in the time as well, and enjoyed quite a lot of success there. The ladies there were quite strong, so we enjoyed a successful time there.
Because there was one year we obviously with the research you almost did the club Grand Slam and won every event, but you missed out on one. Yeah, in the club comps, and you just missed out on one of them.
I remember that. Yes, and I got a feeling it was over my birthday weekend as well, and I was particularly disappointed. But yeah, I think the late Maya Marquis, one of the club's most iconic names, she beat me in one of the competitions. So yes.
Yeah. So do you know how many caps you got altogether?
I don't. I'm afraid.
You don't?
No, I don't.
Can you remember your first game?
I can remember. I can remember my first game for the juniors. We actually played in Leamington Spa, and I played in Helen Rhian Jones's rink. I was so nervous. I remember being ill in the car going to practice games, which at the time was in Llandovery. It was in Leamington Spa. So that was great, and I think if I remember rightly, it was Helen's last year and Anwin's last year. So there was obviously that was a celebration. It was great.
As you can see, I've done a little bit of research. There's a really good article in one. I think it was one of the Pembrokeshire magazines or papers.
Yes,
I give a really good.
I think we had the reporter come down to Saundersfoot one evening and tried his hand at Bell's Bill Khan. He's a great sports pundit in Pembrokeshire.
Right.
So yes.
So and I'd like to look at at the people who think you talked about then Mike Crockford.
Right, yes.
Yeah, was one of the coaches then at the
Yes,
time
he was.
in Tenby, was it?
He was.
And a lot of encouragement from Julia King Thomas. So were they the early influences with your dad, I suppose, on the bowling scene?
Yeah, certainly they were coaches at the club and obviously keen for us to progress, which we did. So we used to play junior games against some of the other local clubs. Obviously, there weren't as many juniors playing as there are now. So there's a couple of girls that we play we play against, and then there were a couple sort of from Premiership in the under 25s as well. So that was good. Kerry Frayling, we won the junior pairs.
You're reading my notes now.
Sorry.
You can, it's fine, it's not a test.
I'm joking. Yeah. Obviously, you mentioned that Kerry there. Do you still keep in touch with any of them old bowlers and see them at all?
Well, they're not old, are they?
They're not old.
Well,
The older bowlers.
Sorry, as you've grown older, have you kept in touch with them?
Absolutely, yes. I think obviously social media the way it is, the girls are cropping up on my feed all the time, and obviously best friends with Emma Woodcock and Matthew Woodcock.
Yep. He messaged me this morning.
Did he?
They know you interview my friends today. I was like, yep.
In fact, you've got both of them to blame for being on the podcast.
You do.
I have, yeah.
Especially Matthew. Matthew, he was the one who messaged me. He's like, I got a friend.
He was super keen to get me on here.
Great.
So,
we get on with Matt well, don't we?
Yeah,
So,
and we do appreciate you coming on because I don't know if a lot of people actually know that we've got this individual who's the editor-in-chief for Bowls International and the stuff you do, and you live in Wales and down in Saundersfoot. You keep yourself quite quiet and tucked away there, don't you, nicely?
Yeah,
busy.
I guess, yeah, very busy, very busy. Yeah, the Bowls International is actually celebrating its 45th anniversary next month in April.
Okay.
So so it's a landmark achievement for the magazine.
I think this would go out in April, wouldn't it?
Close
not far
to,
off.
Yeah, not
yeah,
far.
Well,
in
they
April.
should be going out in April.
So we're celebrating 45 years.
Oh, well done.
And I think, like the sport, the magazine has changed as well. Obviously, the glossy magazine now, the coloured photographs. Like we've got coloured bowls, you've got coloured clothing. I think that the magazine's changed with the times over the last 45 years.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously, since knowing about the magazine, probably about a year and a half ago, I've read quite a few of the articles, and they're brilliant. Especially with the input of different people and what you cover.
It's huge. Well, I think we talk about my first international cap. I didn't know about Bowls International until I had my cap, and the photographs were being taken, and there'd be a story in Bowls International. Obviously, I was working for the local paper at the time in Tenby, so I had an interest in writing and all things media related. So I was like, oh, what is this magazine? So signed up for a subscription, and
you fell in love from there.
Little did I know, 20 years later, I'd actually been working for the magazine.
Okay,
yeah.
I want to come to that in a second. So, to stay in the bowls for a second, successful. I think you also won some Welsh championships as well, didn't you?
Yes, won the junior pairs, the triples, 2-wood singles. So yes,
and British Isles champion in the triples as well, if I'm not mistaken.
We were runners up.
Runners up.
Yeah, we were runners up. Yeah.
And you were non-travelling reserve for Commonwealth one year. For Glasgow?
2014, yes, I was. Yeah. So that was great, going back and forth to Glasgow for the training weekends. The sports, the psychology, the sports coaching we had in the lead up to the team being picking was phenomenal. Yeah. It was a great insight.
Yeah. So, your bowls career gone on. Do you still play bowls? Is the question.
Not really, no. I think I played twice last year. A charity tournament with Emma and John then that Matt was organising, and I played I was invited to the by Bowls England to play in one of their invitation matches.
Right.
So I played in that in Leamington.
Yeah, because obviously your partner is John Roberts down in Tenby. Is he in Tenby playing?
He's in Tenby.
He's in Tenby.
Tenby and Heatherton.
And Heatherton, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
I played against him this year.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Played against him this year down in Heatherton.
You lost again.
Okay.
No, we beat them
Never.
by 2 or 3, I think.
Never.
Yeah, we were the only rink to win.
Don't say what she'll get up and go.
I know. But they'll be up with us now in a week, just over a week.
Okay.
Oh, next week.
How did you meet John through bowls, or how did that come about?
Yes, yep, through bowls, yeah. I think saw him, strangely enough, and this might sound a little bit anorackish if you want to say that. I think he'd qualified for the when the Welsh Open was in Swansea. Gosh, it's been 20 years ago maybe.
Right.
John had qualified a few times through that into playing in that, and I think it was when that was one of the WBT televised events. So seen John on the TV, then watched it, and then I think there was a couple of articles in Bowls International that covered his name, and I think I bumped into him one day and was like, "Oh, I've got some. Have you seen Bowls International? Your name's in there, blah blah." And he'd been in the local paper as well, and yeah, that's how our friendship began.
Good. And look back, I'm surprised you haven't paired up together, mind, and played in a pairs together.
We can't get on. we tried the mixed pairs a few times, but no.
Yeah, there's a few people I know that are partnered and both bowl, and they just don't want to bowl with each other. I
haven't got the patience to.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are limited on the time a bit today because I know you graciously called on the way to a little tea you got
the
this
passion of afternoon teas.
Afternoon teas this afternoon. So you were already writing. Yeah, you were writing for...
Yes, yeah. So I've always enjoyed having a pen and pencil and writing stories right from when I was in school. Had a job at the Tempe Observer when I left school. So really went to work straight away. Had a job Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, £80 a week. I thought I was in heaven. It was great. And then that progressed to a full-time job. I was there for just over 20 years. In between, as I said, obviously Bowls International became aware of the magazine, so started writing quite a few years on from that. Then started writing the Welsh News column, and then the way that newspaper was changing and just get a little bit saturated by what was going on, and thought I needed a different career, different focus. So started writing a little bit more for the magazine, and then that developed into becoming editor in 2021, I think it was.
Okay.
So,
Editor-in-Chief is actually got down in
yes, yeah, I think that's my official title, yeah.
So, explain to me, so Bowls International, 45 years in the going now, coming from.
Yes, yeah.
Who actually...
So the magazine,
runs how does it work?
The magazine is owned by Key Publishing,
okay,
which is a company based in Stamford in Lincoln, and they're renowned for aviation and transport magazines. But a guy called Chris Mills was one of the key founders of Key Publishing, and he had a passion for bowls. He was a bowler, and through that interest, there was no bowls magazine on the scene. Yeah,
still very little
back
as
in
well.
in the early 80s. So the company took on launched the bowls magazine, and here we are 45 years later.
And still going strong.
Absolutely. Yes.
It's impressive, yeah.
And especially since the world has gone quite digital in lots of ways,
and I think there's we've got a sort of an online following, online and in print. I think we're heading towards sort of 36,000 followers. Well, that's print, online users, Facebook. There's something for everybody.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's something, there is something special about having the magazine drop through your letterbox every month.
So all of you out there, come on, buy the magazine.
Thank you very much.
45 years next month. Come on, let's get to 50.
I mean, it's nice.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's almost like, it reminds me even when I was a kid, because it weren't long ago that, a lot of parents used to do newspaper clippings and articles
absolutely.
And stuff,
There's
and make scrapbooks and stuff,
I've got them.
I'm still pretty young, I'm probably more the digital age now, but every now and again, I was the same with I'd love to pick up a magazine and just have a quick flip through and have a look and have a read of this, that, because you're not going to probably read it all, but there's going to be small articles in there that you're going to love to, and especially for like parents and grandparents. And I know you've written a lot about the past couple of events that have happened, like certain people are in there that they can keep that. Then it's a bit of a like memento, like
I mean,
memento,
I think if you win a national competition, if you win a British Isles competition, if you win a World Championship, if you win Com Games, you know, all those events I think deserve to be honoured. And if you're playing in them, you know, you deserve to have your photograph in the magazine. It's preserving the heritage of our sport.
Yeah, and you can even, you know, most clubs could even keep that, and
a lot of clubs do have subscriptions. Yeah, they do take out subscriptions, and you see, you know, and it's nice sometimes when you walk into the club, you think, oh, there's our magazine. There's the magazine. Oh, that's good. You know, and it's amazing how many people. You know, I'll go to events. I do a lot of work with World Bowls now, and also with the World Bowls Tour, and Bowls Europe. You know, and I'll go to cover an event, and you know, somebody will come up to me, oh, you don't know who I am, but I see your face every month, or you come to my house every month, and I'm thinking, oh, put your photographs in the magazine. Oh yes, thank you for your support, and then we'll have a general chit chat. But it's something, the magazine, you sort of want something for everybody, really, for the club bowlers, for the players who are at the upper end echelons of the sport. You know, we've got the Hot Shots Club, for example. Yeah. Now that's for some bowlers, that, you know, that's a Com Games gold medal. And that's they win a hot shot badge, and it's a phenomenal part of the sport. Yeah. And that's been going 20 years now. The Hot Shots. It's been going quite a long time. Yes, you're right. So if he doesn't probably know what this is.
No, I haven't.
So the Hot Shots is basically if any time in a competition you're triples and fours.
It's pairs, triples and fours. So you have to get a maximum count.
Full count.
So it's obviously 6 or a 9 in triples.
Oh, we've done that loads of times. Me and Kieran, Adam, and
yeah,
Sean.
But so basically you can submit.
You then apply for a certificate and a badge.
We should have applied,
and
man.
The kudos of winning a hot shot badge, as I said, is huge. Yeah. You know, and people have them on their tops. Yeah. You have the certificates. You can have the Bowls stickers with Bowls International Hot Shots Club. And you can't, you know, to explain it to somebody perhaps who doesn't play bowls is really hard because this club is like gold. You know, I'll have probably 30 applications a week. Did the men's under 25s apply for it? Because they picked up an 8 in Frith.
With Ireland against
Ireland, yeah.
Did we pick up an 8?
Yeah, Wales picked up an 8 against Ireland.
Come on, guys, get them hot shot badges on. Look.
Yeah. I think one of the England juniors rinks had a hot shot 2 years running in the juniors as well. Yes, and there was a few hot shots flying around in Belfast last week as well.
I'm not going to talk about Belfast next week. It was well, we could.
Well, we can. Did you go?
I didn't go. No. I worked remotely. So
because you can't turn up to all of them.
Okay, so we Bowls International, and there's still lots we could talk about. Bowls International, great magazine, doing great stuff, online, digital, and everything else you're doing. You mentioned World Bowls and World Bowl Tour, European Bowls. I can see on there Ambassador Cruise Line now. You're also involved. Is that through that, or was that through?
Ambassador Cruise Line are the title sponsors of the World Bowls Tour events. So they sponsor the Scottish International Open, the World Indoor Bowls Championships in Potters, and then the new UK Open, which has been
just been done, isn't it?
Held last week for the first time in 4 years. Yeah. So, you know, to have a company like that on board, excuse the pun, to be supporting bowls is phenomenal. I mean, you know, we can't. The events wouldn't be possible without their support, without the support of Potters. I don't know. Have you ever been to Potters?
We've never been.
No, we'd love an invite.
I'm sure you'd love it. You'd love it.
You know, after match interviews, sort of booth with players would be good, wouldn't it?
It's absolutely
a bit of a social after and get people talking.
Yes, yeah, definitely. It's you know, you live, breathe and sleep bowls.
Yeah.
You know, it's an absolute amazing complex. Yeah. You know, 5-star inclusive resort.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's 40 something weeks of the year they have bowls tournaments Monday to Friday.
Yeah.
You know, they come the clubs. They come in coach loads,
Mm.
and they book from one year to the next year, and they have a rinks tournament every. You know, they'll be playing sort of 10 o'clock till 6 o'clock, and then there's a trophy at the end of the week.
Yeah.
And it's immense. Really.
Yeah, a couple of people we know, Mike Howard.
Yeah, we know a few from the club. They go up.
They've been up for 4, 5, 6 years in the trot, and they go up for the world.
Okay, yes.
The world. So, is without Ambassador Cruise Line and Potters, we would be lacking a lot, wouldn't we?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you'd be struggling to hold something.
There's always the other side that people say, well, there's no atmosphere. There's all of this other side, but you can take all that away and say without their sponsor.
You're just going to walk in somewhere like Potters and into the bowler's bar and you feel the buzz.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I mean, that's every week of the year. I mean, we have two breaks there. Celebrity, we run a celebrity week there.
Mm-hmm.
So we have Andy Thompson comes and gives coaching, and Les Gillett now as the bowls manager.
Yeah.
He's involved with us. And for anybody to think that bowls doesn't have a buzz, you need to go to Potters to see what it's like, and that's offshoots at events.
Yeah.
I mean,
But you don't see that when you're watching it on media. Does that make sense?
Yes, I know what you're saying.
Potters could sell it a little bit more by having something just randomly going on.
Obviously for the World Championships, the portable rink is built, so it is. The stadium looks completely different with the stand.
Yeah.
With the portable rink there, you've got the other green they have there. You can have they have social bowls going on. They have their bowl shop. I mean, I know for example, Gary Willis, the coach from Australia, who came over with Jack McShane, who'd qualified. He was totally blown away by the place.
Oh yeah, the venue looks incredible.
A lot of the overseas players really are.
The venue looks unbelievable. How many rinks they have? How many greens they have there?
There's three greens, so I think there's 8 rinks, 6 rinks, and then there's 2 rinks upstairs. And they will be full for these bowls breaks all the time, and even during the World Championships they'll be full because people will come. And they'll be, they'll watch a little bit of the bowls, then they'll go and join in the social bowls tournament.
It's like one of those things that if you get the privilege of playing there, you're like, I played at Potters, and it is like that, because anyone who knows Potters knows that that's kind of where you want to get.
I think the welcome you get there, the food is first class. You go into the restaurant, it's like being on board a cruise ship. You could have a 3-course breakfast, 3-course lunch, 3-course dinner.
Well, you had me at all inclusive.
Yeah,
you had me at all inclusive.
You just want an open bar and you're sold by it.
No, and you know what? It for anybody who hasn't been there, everybody tells us, the people who've been there and we talk to us, said it's absolutely fantastic. And
it is well worth a 7-hour journey if you say it quickly.
That's the and even further for you down in Saundersfoot. Is it 7 hours from Saundersfoot?
It is about 7 hours. Yeah, okay. On a good day.
Okay.
But
so you also do some interviewing for the World Bowls Tour at Potters, don't you?
Yeah.
We hear that voice the other side of the camera
quite often. Well, I hear it quite often because I've the last 2.5 years I've probably listened to all the interviews with them.
Yeah. I don't like the sound of my own voice.
Well. So you got into Bowls International, started writing. Yeah. How did the World Bowls Tour and doing the interview side? How did that come along then?
So I started off, as I said, with Bowls International, then started doing some work with World Bowls, which obviously is a different organisation, and covering their events. So I've been lucky enough to go to the Champion of Champions in Barham last September, which was a great event. The Indoor Championships in Guernsey and Aberdeen last year. And then, was approached by World Bowls Tour when their previous press officer Andon Woody retired, and was asked if I'd like to join the team, which obviously I jumped at the chance.
Yeah, it's hard to say no to that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a bowler's dream, I think.
To be there at the heart of the action 24/7. I was lucky my office sort of overlooked the rink. It was just phenomenal.
Yeah.
You know, I've been lucky. I've been before. John had qualified in the singles and the pairs, quite a few years ago. So I had been there during the championships, but this experience was totally different.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Even though you're working.
Even though I'm working, yes.
Yeah. And
it doesn't feel like a job when you enjoy it that much, so is it?
It is long days, I will say that.
People don't know how, just doing them interviews and then getting them edited and getting them onto social media and everything.
Trying to catch the players when they come off. And then it's difficult to grab them for a chat, and there are so many stories, as well as the winning and losing side of the tournament. There are so many bowlers who've got interesting backgrounds, interesting stories, how they got into bowls. I mean, we had the guy, one of the guys from the USA who'd qualified in January. He was a yoga teacher. He does yoga classes in his bowls club for bowlers. Yeah. And I was like, right, we jumped all over that. Like, give us a little demonstration for yoga. But it is something different.
It is, yeah.
It's engaging. It's engaging in.
And that was one of the reasons we started this podcast, is to have people's journeys of how they got involved in bowls, and the saddest one, but not sad, sad in that he didn't tell us on the podcast, and I am going to divulge this, and I hope he's not going to mind me saying this, because I love him to bits. Keith Thorpe. I don't know if you know Keith Thorpe from Pembrokeshire. Lovely gentleman.
His wife used to teach me.
Did she?
Yeah. What's the word? Design technology in school.
Right.
Amazing cake maker.
But with Keith, after we had done the podcast with Keith, he tells us that the year he won the indoor over 60s Welsh Championships, he'd battled cancer.
Oh, okay.
And he'd gone through radiotherapy, chemotherapy, practicing every single day, even though he was going through that treatment. And I hope you don't mind me saying this, Keith, because I think if you'd have told us at the time, it makes the achievement even more impressive.
Indeed,
that he won that, going through that. And
he only been bowling for a couple of years.
And that's just a story that he went through, and people go through them things, and bowls keeps him going.
Yes, definitely.
He says the bowls kept him going.
So many people have turned to bowls after suffering an illness, and they've been recommended to bowls, as therapy. It's huge how much the sport can help everybody. There's no barrier over age. There's no barrier over inclusivity. Yeah.
We're lucky with
it's a sport for everybody.
With what we do, we meet so many great people already doing this. For me, being only in bowls 2 years full, going into 3 years, we're lucky. We started a junior academy, and you said that the age group, and we I don't know if you knew about it, but last year in the indoors, last year or the year before, with Leah? Last year, yeah. So last year, the juniors obviously played there all the way through to the finals in the under 18s fours, and all of a sudden, one of the players that played in this fours all year, she couldn't play. She had something on, she was away or something, so they needed a replacement. But every other kid at the time had already either filled in or played or done something, so there was only one person left, and it was an 8-year-old girl called Leah.
She was 7
at the time. Started in our academy. Little pink bowls that she was playing with, and she
from
played
Beth Russ.
Yeah, Beth Russ. So she ended up playing in Billy Flynn's rank with them. Only go on to win the under 18s fours. She became the youngest Welsh winner ever.
Oh, gosh.
And a couple of rinks over was the over 60s playing at the same time. And
a gentleman from Frith, I think he was actually. And I think he was in his 80s.
So you had a 7-year-old and an 8-year-old. They took a picture together.
Oh, brilliant.
And it was like you said, you talk about it, and it's just mind-boggling. You get these different people with different backgrounds. Like I said, stories. Like last night we had our junior... on Fridays we do junior league, and we had 2 6-year-olds and an 8-year-old playing on our rink. So it's like,
it's amazing.
I'm 28 and I have 3 kids put together age don't even equal mine yet. It's awesome.
Just because of time constraints, I'm just going to go. We're going to go to some driving questions, because I did some driving questions. I'm going to turn that.
You're going to waste our time with driving. We got so much to talk about.
Yes, I know we have, but which is the best? Tenbules or Saundersfoot as a town?
As a town?
Yeah.
I'd have to say 10 because I'm born and brought up
Okay.
there.
Favourite bowls destination you have been to?
Destination as a whole. Oh, it's close between. It would be close between Australia and Hong Kong.
Okay. Favourite ice cream?
Ice cream.
Yeah.
Well, this isn't just bowls
Ooh.
questions. These are
Oh, that
in
would be.
depth.
Oh.
That's the one for Nicky Jones, this one, because he loves his ice cream in
and
Tenby.
I love sending me a photograph if I have an ice cream. Quickly, lemon cheesecake.
Oh, I think strawberry. You've got to try the strawberry cheesecake from Lidl's. He tells me
That's
is very
the one,
good.
yeah.
That's the one. Favorite article you have written about, or person you have interviewed. Favorite article or favorite interview you've done, or one of both if you want.
Oh my goodness.
this is a tough one.
It is a tough one. Oh my goodness. Probably a little bit. I would have to say probably one of the most funniest. Perhaps I'm pushing the boundaries there. Would be in the World Championships where we surprised Alex Marshall, who was sitting in the crowd, and one of the Potters presenters chit-chatting to the crowd and just picked on him and didn't really know who he was. And he was there to watch his niece Beth, and then the story unfolded. It's on the World Bowls Facebook page, so that's probably one of the hoots.
Okay.
So the person who picked him didn't know it was Alex Marshall.
She did when we told her he was going to be in the crowd, but she didn't know beforehand. No. It is quite worth a watch.
And the last one, favourite playing partner.
Favourite playing partner? I'd have to say probably Anne Lewis.
Okay.
She's probably the person who I've probably grown up watching, supporting, and then very lucky to have played with her and achieved Welsh honours in Saundersfoot, and I've got a lot to owe her to. I've got a lot that I owe her to. Yeah, she's probably inspired me the most, and
Brilliant.
I've enjoyed.
Okay.
Yes, with.
Back to you. Yeah. So, driving questions out the way.
Phew.
Yeah. Easy, right?
That was the quickest-
It's the hard. That might have been the quickest
driving questions we've ever done. Give me 5 on that one. Well done.
It takes a good 10 minutes for people to get through those.
The story one I'm still trying to think of.
Okay. If you think of it, come back after.
So obviously you cover a good wide variety of things within bowls through the magazine.
Yes.
Obviously, like I said, I've read a little bit. Obviously, you cover not just bowls, but articles about bowls and also greenkeeping as well. There's a few people on.
Yeah, I think the magazine, obviously that there's so many aspects to the sport. We've got coaching articles, we've got player interviews, we've got regular features. So a lot of the clubs and organisations, obviously Bowls England, the English Indoor, we've got Bowls Scotland. The English, the Friends of English Bowling, you've got the Bowls Development Alliance. They all, it's a shop window for them, the magazine, to promote their activities, what they're doing, and then we've got articles. David Corker writes an opinion piece. He'll address current issues. We've got David Rhys-Jones, who, he's probably one of my icons as well. I love him to bits. He's absolutely fascinating. I'm forever emailing him, what's the stat on this? Or, I love statistics and being able to say, this person's done this, the most times, or, this hasn't been done for X amount of years. And, he's got his stats from obviously when he was writing regularly. Now he's enjoying sharing his memories. So we're currently doing a Legends and Heroines feature. A great feature we did with him 4 years ago leading up to the Com Games. We did a history of the games each year. So, so that was great. So he's been talking about clubs he's visited, his favourite clubs, achievements, people who've made an impact on him and the sport. Yeah. So yeah, it's great. And you think, yes, I remember that name, or yes, that must be. I wonder if that's a relation of so-and-so's that, next generation on, or even next 2 generations on.
And you telling that story actually made me realise how important that magazine is. Certainly for the, demographics of bowls is that it is more older players play. Now, older people aren't into digital and social media and all of those things. So that magazine is so important for them individuals, because that's the only source they'll get that information from, isn't it?
Yeah, you're right. And I mean, you say that we do have a huge online presence as well. So all the stories do eventually go online, and it's almost a new publication online, because the interaction then with people will be huge. They'll comment on it. I mean, we have one of our posts every week. We have the winners from Potters, so Hopton-on-Sea and Five Lakes. Yeah. So the winners every week will get the photograph, a little bit of a write-up from the bowls manager, the clubs that have done well. For a simple post like that, people saying, congratulations, we bowled against you, oh, well done, we played against you in this row, oh, we've been to your club, or we've been, it's huge. It gets everybody talking, it gets everybody in communication with each other. It's great.
Yeah, and the other thing with the magazine as well is you cover enough across so many different areas that it's so easy to get the information. People kind of can be hard to get as well, because like I said, we talked about it at the start. There's not many bowls, magazines or newsletters that actually share any of this information in real time that I know of. I mean, I only know Bowls International. I don't know if there's another one out there, especially in Britain or even most places now are just social media, Facebook and stuff.
You're right. And I think the sport deserves its history to be preserved through the magazine, and the players deserve to have their achievements recognised. So they can say, oh, in 20 years' time, oh, I won this, or show their grandchildren, and as I said, keeping the history of the sport. I mean, it's most exciting that we can continue to share how the sport's developing. I mean, we have got a huge year coming up, the Com Games, indoor for the first time in Glasgow. Shorter formats, jack spotting, shot clock, portable rinks. I mean, it's going to be phenomenal, and I think it's
You're not going by any chance, you?
Fingers crossed.
I would hope so. Because I was going to come and touch on that. Obviously, we've got very little time left before you have to leave us. But we're going to touch on it. Obviously, you've spent a lot the last couple of months writing quite a bit about the Commonwealth Games, and obviously different countries that have already
some
announced
countries have already
and stuff,
announced their teams. Yeah, you're right.
And obviously stuff like that. And so when is it a busier year now that the Commonwealth's around the corner with more coming out, or is it kind of just still quite flat?
I think it is always busy. I think it's always busy. I never struggle for copy. I'm really lucky. I've got a great backup of correspondence in our former editor Sian Honor, Commonwealth Games representative for England. We've got John Rednall, England's longest serving international player. He loves the coaching side of it, but then he also likes speaking to players and doing interviews with them. We've got David Corkill that covers an opinion piece. Obviously Alan Thornhill, his knowledge, his umpiring skills are huge. He's always willing to answer any umpiring questions and talk about rules. You touched on Greencraft. We've got John Quinn. He writes that article for us every month, so something for the greenkeepers out there.
Well, I'm part of
who often probably get overlooked, really, because they're the unsung heroes, and we don't necessarily always think about them. And then we've got, like I said, we've got the different organisations, national governing bodies that have a page that's their platform to be saying what they're doing.
It's impressive, and especially for a podcast about a little old sport like ours, and to be fair, we're fairly new, and I didn't know bowls existed until probably 5 years ago, until you started playing again. We probably noticed the green here and there, but never really paid it much attention, and you give it one go and it's just like, I'm hooked. I'm hooked. Let's go and see what happens. Like, and for a magazine company like yourselves that just kind of get the information out, and and that's what it is. That's kind of what the podcast a little bit, like you said, the stories rather than the bowls.
Exactly.
It's like you get the actual stories that have happened through bowls is unbelievable.
You're forever I'm forever learning about things, about what's happened and events and different things. But as you said about the Com Games, this is a huge year for us.
Yeah.
I mean, we're one of 10 sports that's included in the scale down games.
Mm-hmm.
Bowls is going to be on every day
For a whole week.
for the whole,
For a
the whole
whole
10
week.
the whole 10 days. And I think there's going to be opportunities for 2 games at least to be live streamed the whole time. So it's huge for clubs to be jumping on it and saying, well, come and have a watch party in our club.
I'm excited for
get people to come to have open days as a result of it, because I think there's a lot of people who will be watching bowls that probably haven't seen bowls before. Well, what is this for? Oh, well, actually, I walk down the road, look over the hedge, there's a bowling green.
I've got to give a shout out to the boys from Wrong Bias podcast, because they're doing a brilliant job.
They do.
They do the streaming and we do a little bit, but
we've done the internationals. They're doing the open circuits and
they
the
do a great
circuit
job.
Stuff,
So
and that is the one question: whatever event is on, where can I watch it?
Yeah,
where can I watch it? And I think it's not cheap to do.
No.
It costs thousands and thousands of pounds, and it's got to be professional.
Yeah.
Yes, okay, we love watching the people with their phones, and that's but to be professional, it costs thousands.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think people realise.
Yeah.
No, and it's hard work sitting there from 8 o'clock in the morning and getting there, setting up, and everything that they do is unbelievable. Yeah. Anyway, I know we're coming to the end of time, so because I don't want you to be late for your afternoon tea. So, going forward, plans for Bowls International? How is that going to develop over the next 5 years to the 50 years?
It's continued to build our reach, really, online and in print, and get our name out there that, we are the game's most respected bowls name, yes.
Number one. Say it as it is.
And to continue to cover the events that progress our sport.
Yeah.
Obviously you've got the World Bowls, now you've got the World Bowls Series, you've got the ranking list there. I mean, that's, you've got 5,000 players around the world on the ranking list. You've got different events each month that are ranked, so you get different points. Then you've got the World Bowl Series finals at the end of the year, where obviously where players are vying for that number one status. I mean, that's huge. You've got the World Bowls Tour. Like I said, to go to Potters and see the championships was simply phenomenal. The drive for bowls, the following that the top 6, some of the top 16 players actually have is often, Scots.
Mad.
It is totally mad.
I don't know where that come from. There we are.
It's great for the sport.
You got so excited
and I think with Potters and some of the sporting, you're up close and personal with the players.
Yeah.
You could be walking into dinner with them. You could be sitting down and you've got.
Happened to me in the
players
internationals last year. I was went up to watch on my own, and Paul Foster come past, and I was standing in a bit of an awkward place, and he put his hand on me and said, "Hang on," he just said, "Right, bud," and then just tapped me out the way, and I'm like, "Paul Foster just walked past."
He did say, "All right, bud."
He was nice. He was genuinely quite nice about it, to be fair to him. He was, but I was like, just blow. Like, it's name another sport you can just walk around with legends.
You're right.
Just
you're right.
and act, and it's everyone's just in the same boat.
And in Cambridge, Chesterton last week for the new or the revamped UK Open, the club there, they had, oh goodness knows how many club volunteers there were there.
Yeah.
But they were totally blown away that they had the likes of Rob Paxton, the new world champion, Paul Foster, Stuart Anderson, Nick Brett. They were in their club playing.
Yeah.
And then you've got the qualifiers that are coming through, and I think the amount of time that the qualifiers dedicate to go into these events, to getting a top 16 place is absolutely huge. It's phenomenal how much people spend.
Well, we're in the same boat because we've had obviously Ross Owen, and we keep forgetting like Ross is a top 3 player in the world in the rankings for a good couple of months, and I'm like, we've had a world number 3 in our living room, like just chatting away like it's nothing. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Let's go on. Sorry, go on. No, please, you go.
I don't know what I was going to say.
Sorry. So, I'm just conscious of the time, and I really appreciate what you've done today to help us out and come on the podcast. What's the next 5 years looking like for?
You just asked.
No, I said that was Bowls International. What's it looking like for you? Where do your career going? Because you've started with Bowls International, World Bowl Tour, World Bowls. Now you mentioned European Bowls as well.
Yes, so the European Championships will be in Llanrindod towards the end of September.
Yeah.
And that obviously is a qualifying event then for the World Championships, which will be in Leamington next year. We're never short of events.
Yeah.
It's one event after another, which is great for the sport. So yeah, it's continuing.
You might have to grow, get more.
It's continuing to promote the sport through documenting it through the magazine, really telling the story online, announcing the winners, sharing their stories, and seeing how the game progresses. I mean, the World Bowls has got so many developing countries now that are.
It's exciting time for
bowls. Malaysia, Hong Kong, to name that
you've
are
got
huge.
Countries like India, you've got countries like Ghana.
Yeah.
I mean, Ghana. The president came to the World Bowls Indoor Championships in April, and in Aberdeen, and he was telling us stories of, the children and the armed forces is obviously huge there, and they were getting them into bowls. They were playing with oranges. You've got countries like Namibia playing on fishing nets.
Yeah.
The Falkland Islands, they're rolling up in school corridors. And to get these developing nations on board now with World Bowls and
it's massive.
Receiving donations of some of the bowls companies I know in Australia, they've been sending them bowls and equipment, and then you've been having some of the World Bowls officials going to the countries to give coaching and show them what to do, basically. To give them less. It's absolutely huge, and if they can, those member nations will become involved in World Bowls and events. Who knows where
Olympics.
Well, that's the other big question, isn't it? It's to join the Bowls for Brisbane campaign.
Yeah.
I mean, the World Bowls are staging a lot of countries against the rest of the world. So there's one now in Australia in May when the indoor championships are held. Australia against the rest of the world. That's part of the bid for inclusion in 2032. Yeah. Bowls Australia.
They did one in Malaysia as well, didn't they? Malaysia versus the rest of the world.
Malaysia versus the rest of the world. They've done one at the BPL.
Yeah.
Before last.
I watched that game. It was a hell of a game too.
Mm-hmm. And it's great to have the para bowlers and the open bowlers bowling together. Yeah. I mean, it's great scenes, and to join the Bowls Australia World Bowls Barracan campaign, sign up to that. And join the campaign.
I have.
And we can continue to push for it because, that would be absolutely phenomenal for our sport. And I think everybody that's involved, no matter at what level, that is the
there is hope with curling being so successful this Winter Olympics, and hopefully if the Commonwealth goes and people tune into the Commonwealth and see bowls and get that bug like they did with curling, hopefully who knows what can happen with it.
No, it's great. It's great to be part of the sport and to be sharing the stories.
I think it's a really exciting time for bowls. It's how we develop and how we as countries develop is really interesting. So one thing I'm sure, you're going to be very, very busy, lady. Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
So, Ceris, thank you very much for joining us on the podcast.
Where can we find Bowls International first? So people who are listening, if they don't know about it, they know.
So Bowls International is published monthly. We are a subscription magazine. So if you go onto our website, bowlsinternational.com, there are links there to sign up for a subscription, whether that be online or in print. And there's an offer on at the moment for a 12-month subscription, and I think you get a free prize at the moment. So
there we are.
So
sign up.
Thank you very much, guys, for the work you do. And,
thank you so much.
Telling the story too.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Hope you all enjoyed. Please like, subscribe, and we'll catch you next time. Thank you, Ceris.
Thank you very much indeed.